Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Dr. Robbie Robinson, a chemical engineer with distinguished involvement in minerals beneficiation spanning more than 60 years, has died at 86. Martin Creamer joins me in studio to discuss Dr. Robinson, who often featured on Creamer Media's Mining Weekly online. Hi, Martin.
Hi, Tracy.
Dr. Robinson's face was a usual sight here at the office. What led to his death?
It's a pity that, eventually he had to succumb after radiation to what was really lung cancer, which was the primary cause of his death on the 21st of January. Yeah, he lived up the road at St. George's Village, which meant that he could get down here quite easily. And even at the age of, 84, 85, 86, his mind was so alert. And that was incredible because he was suffering so much, with poor eyesight. He was very hard of hearing. And these had all come about because of the tremendous dedication that he had been putting into South Africa's minerals and metals industry. His deafness had stemmed from all the crushes on the mines where the mines failed to protect him in those days. And he always referred to himself as the blind prophet. He used to come in here and he could barely see. But when he went on video, people didn't realize that. And, he could find his way around the office and would always come through with some incredible technical insights that it's really bad for a country like South Africa to lose. We're losing a lot of this intellectual memory, project memory. And he would always be there to make sure that he recalled the research that had been done and would love to have seen more research done because so little research is being done at the moment. We used to have the Chamber of Mines Research Organization. We used to have a lot happening at Mintech. And we now are sitting with a situation where unless you try and record a lot of what has been done, it could be lost.
And he has an expansive career. What is the highlight for you?
For me, the highlight is the fact that he actually got to the bottom of acid mine drainage very, very early. And had they taken up what he was offering, we would be in a different situation now. And I even think that the Aurora debacle and, the liquidation of Grootvlei mine might not have happened had people just taken account of what he was doing, because the way he was treating that acid mine drainage meant that it was coming at zero cost to the mine because he was recovering the metal elements and the mineral elements within that he could then on-sell. Now, if you go to Grootvlei, you'll realize that there's a water problem there. But if they can solve that water problem in that mine on the East Rand, which is now totally abandoned, there's 200 million ounces of gold down there. But, people have all walked away because they can't deal with the water problem. And, even to the last of that mine's activity, it was still using an old-fashioned but expensive and not really environmentally good lime process, which he was going to move away from totally. But when it was presented to the Department of Water Affairs, they turned it down on the basis that they had a better offer from another tenderer. Now, it certainly wasn't a better offer because even the 10 million that they spent on the pilot plant was a disaster. It fell flat on its face. The alternative proposal that the Department of Water Affairs chose over the proposal, from Dr. Robbie Robinson, which it broke his heart. Because not only could one see that his proposal was much better, but the plant that they set up there at high expense had to be summarily closed because it caused such foul smells in the atmosphere that the people demanded that it was closed, and it was associated with East Rand Water Authority. So if they had taken that on, he would have also made sure that that water could have had an agricultural use in the nearby squatter camp. He had always was looking for jobs. He was always nation building in that he realized we've got a first world and a third world, and he was always trying to get the two involved and look for jobs for people. and look for ways of involving them in research. Even in that early research in the mid-90s at Fruitvlei, he went to the technicons and he brought in disadvantaged students to learn this solution that he had, which is a fabulous solution, and you can see one of his service providers is going to come through with it soon. So it's going to live on, even though they rejected it in a harsh way. I don't think they were even pleasant about it. They were talking about over their dead body would they take his, that's not the way to react when you are a paid civil servant and you're turning down something that's far superior that you rejecting, and you're taking something that's a total disaster. So, these sort of things happen among civil servants these days, it seems.
And what messages does Dr. Robbie Robinson leave behind?
He leaves a lot of messages, and we need some to champion him, and we will be coming through with a person who is going to champion the ion exchange process that he mastered. He was a master at ion exchange, and he mastered it for, acid mine drainage. And his partner, or his associate company, will soon be telling us how he's going to press ahead with this. So already people have taken up, his big dreams, and they're going to bring them to reality. But another one, which I think was an obvious one, he couldn't stand the waste of people who had gone through university. They graduated, they were ready to be put into service, but there were no jobs for them. And he was saying, look, there's so many of these mining engineering students coming off now. Let's have a research revolution, get them involved, maybe in acid mine drainage, maybe in linking mining to agriculture. And he looked around at all our slimes dams and said, there's a huge opportunity there. Because he wanted to, because of the experience he had at Fruitvlei, to link the mine to the farm, to link the mine to agriculture. But he also knew that those slimes dams are full of valuable metals and mineral elements. Now, what he was going to do is extract those, so you take all the toxicity out of sell them off and use the funds to encourage agriculture there, because part of the process also gives you like a nearly distilled water, which you can use. And if you're using it in a drip irrigation, he loved the idea of drip irrigation, conserving the water. We could have had so much agricultural activity on these old slimes dams which have been detoxified, but when you say detoxified, you're turning them to a very positive account financially, and then you're using them for agriculture. And he was even very keen on, the New Zealand ryegrass he wanted to grow on there, which would probably be growable. And you could have cattle grazing on there, and you don't get more milk, per hectare than from this grass. But he had millions of ideas. I mean, when I first met him, he was with Centrichem, and he was wanting to turn maize into ethanol. That means maize into fuel that you can use in your cars, as they do in Brazil. He was in a big way, and he still wanted to continue with that ethanol, to produce ethanol on the slimes dams for the mining industry, selling it into the mining industry. They could use that as a fuel. But also he hated the idea of migratory labor, and he wanted the families of miners to be closer to the mines, and for them and their families to also be engaged in these agricultural activities, so that mining has a finite horizon, agriculture has an infinite horizon. So when the mines closed, they could continue. And even now, people must put their hats on, because we are potentially going to have a water problem here if there's another drought in 2018, because we haven't signed the deal yet with the second phase of the Lesotho Highlands project. We also haven't gone ahead with what we're going to do with this acid mine drainage. I mean, everybody's saying we're going to get this acid mine drainage going, but no one takes a decision. Now, we could have been in a much better position had they allowed some of these ideas to go forward sooner. And there's not only that, I mean, he also looks at the cobalt that is in these slimes dams, and the cobalt that is actually mined with gold that we don't sell. We do nothing about it. We dump it. Now, we know that with electric cars and IT, there's a lot of use of cobalt at the moment. A lot of people are seeing it as street. That's just one thing, but he wanted a big team to come together, involving Mintech and the Industrial Development Corporation, the CSIR, and come through to really optimize the opportunity in platinum, which he saw as an Aladdin's cave of treasure. he had all sorts of ideas for how we can make better use of this platinum. But he was wanting a big think tank to come through with it, because there's a window of opportunity now. If we become the first movers in platinum with fuel cells, we can be what Saudi Arabia is to oil, we could be to the new engine that drives the cars in the future. But he also had very good ideas how to mine very economically and not to waste. He hated waste, and that's why he wanted this selected mine blasting, because he couldn't stand the fact that the way we blast these precious metals indicates that we've got no respect for the precious metals. They get blasted to kingdom come all over the place, and you're not recovering that properly. So he had a method, he's got the method, that you blast in such a way that all the precious metal separates from the gang or the waste. But nobody's ever changed it. They take the waste and they take the good stuff, and it costs a lot of money, whereas if they just took the good stuff up, it would cost much less, and you can use that waste for backfill, which has massive safety implications. So that I could have had him in here every day. He would have come up with a new idea, but he would come down on his own accord, say, the blind prophet has arrived to talk to you, because he wanted a lot of these things to. He was a very good-natured, warm-hearted people who never pointed fingers at anyone, but he did want to see some of these ideas get through, and fortunately, he used us and our video facilities here to try and get across, because he was determined to use print. He used to use the South African Institute of Mining and Metallurgy, a journal. He used to use our, internet every day. We used to help him get access to that, because there was a little bit of a glitch with our system and his. And he would still produce papers, right to the end.
Thanks, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Tracy.
Hopefully we don't lose those ideas.
I hope. Well, it's up to us, I think, to keep punting.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on the South African mining industry.